Hello and welcome everyone. In last class, we have discussed about what? In last class, we have discussed about monetary aggregates. Okay. So, in the last class, we have discussed about the monetary aggregates and the purpose to study this monetary aggregate was to know money supply, right? And how this money supply is calculated. That was an objective to study this monetary aggregates, right? What was the purpose? Purpose to study monetary aggregates. It's to find out what appropriate supply should be in the economy. And I told you one committee was formed in 1970s, and they came up with M1, M2, M3, and M4, right? M1, M2, M3, and M4. These four aggregates they have given. However, again in 1998, another committee was formed under Dr. Y.V. Reddy. And this committee under Y.V. Reddy, this committee not only came up with monetary aggregates, but they also came up with liquidity aggregates. For that, they have used NM0, NM1, NM2, and NM3, right? Whereas L1, L2, and L3 was used for liquidity aggregates. I explained all these things in the last class. Just giving you the brief. M0, which is known as a monetary base, M1 is known as narrow money, M3 is known as broad money, right? So, in this way, we have discussed all these things in the last class, and I also told you about liquidity aggregates, and I told you what actually it is. M3, known as broad money, is used to calculate money supply. For what? For the purpose of for the purpose of monetary policy, right? For the purpose of monetary policy, right? So these things we have discussed in the last class. Today I will discuss about the monetary policy committee. right? So actually, Monetary Policy Committee came into existence in 2015, right? In 2015, that means monetary policy was not decided by Monetary Policy Committee before 2015, because the committee came into existence in 2015 only. So certainly there was a other committee or commission or organization which was setting up this monetary policy. However, it was changed, and in 2015 committee came into existence. So what was the reasons why committee is required? We must have to know in order to get the proper understanding, right? So to get the proper understanding, just try to understand the characteristic of economy. When we say about money, right? So money have capacity to trigger both demand as well as supply. But at the same time, money can also change price, right? So this money have this capacity: demand, supply, and price, having the capacity to alter any of these three, right? There are some economists who emphasize on this demand side, where are some economists who focus on supply side, and there are some economists who are focusing on the pricing side. Those economists who generally focus on supply side, they believe that what they believe that their fundamental belief is it is supply which creates a demand. That is their belief. And to explain their belief and emphasis on supply, they said that supply, or in other words, we can also use the term production. Production is done by either government or private organization. But they consider production, these economists, they are known as supply side economists, they consider production is a private activity. So basically, they emphasize on capitalism, where private people have full freedom to establish their production unit and go for the production. So entire economic system in the West, means in Europe and America, is based on this capitalism. And it was a capitalism which was an reason for rise of this subject. So entire subject of economics was rooted on this, the philosophy of capitalism, or you can say it means in general, if you will study entire economy with philosophy and political science in mind, you will find that till then 20th century, even till then first half of 20th century, the entire objective of the subject of economics is to justify the capitalism philosophically, right? So we don't want to go in that debate, just to understand this thing, because we have to understand the monetary policy. So I'm going to brief you what their view and why monetary policy committee came into the existence. So what they feel that for production, what we need: land, labor, and capital, right? And with this land, labor, and capital, producer will produce. So when he go for land, labor, and capital, he will generate what? Employment, right? and this employment will help to generate income, and this income can go for what? Consumption and savings, right? So this consumption will create what? Demand, or in other words we can say that it will increase the demand. It will increase the demand, and when the demand will increase, there will be increase in price, right? And that increase in the price, either that can be increase in exponential or small change in the price. If the small change in the price, then definitely it will trigger more production, because slight change in the price means people are going to be capable to purchase, and if the supply is going to increase, their income means the who are going to produce, their income is going to increase. Why? When they are going to increase the supply, then there will be increase in the employment, in additional increase in the employment, which is going to increase in income, and this increase in income is also going to increase in consumption and savings. Savings will go in investments. People will put their money in their bank or they will invest in the market, and that investment will indirectly go for capital formation from this. So they feel that it is supply which is creating all these things. If supply is going to disrupt it, then entire thing is going to disrupt. So for them, there is no need to focus on money, there is no need to focus on demand, there is no need to focus on what? Price. Only focus should be on supply. Means in other word, what they want to say that the supply of money, market demand and price should be adjusted. Listen very carefully. They feel that all these three factors, money supply, demand and price, should be adjusted in that way it will always support supply. It will always support supply in order to make this system work. In order to make the system work. So if supply is going to be uninterrupted, then there will be the economic growth, then there will be the high employment, then there will be the high consumption and high savings. So it is the primary responsibility of government to go for focus on supply. Then people ask how government can focus. How government can focus on this thing? So they said philosophically, you have to follow laissez faire. You have to follow laissez faire. It is a French term and which means that do not disturb. Do not disturb. So when they're being asked by the other people in what terms government, country's government can boost supply so that money, demand and price will be adjusted and this entire economic system can work. So they simply said that do not disturb. So people ask you, what do you mean by do not disturb? Why you are saying so, do not disturb? So you scratch your back, I will scratch my back, right? It's not like that you scratch my back and I'll scratch your back. It's not like that. I'll scratch my back, you can scratch your back. Means government should focus in its own domain and let this sector, means the production, free from any government intervention. So people ask why you want to say that. They said that if government is going to intervene, entire system is going to disturb and there will be the big issue. So people ask how it can be a problem. So they said that see, if government will be there, definitely government is going to do what? Government is going to fix minimum wages. Government will also intervene interest rate through their central bank. and this intervention is going to disturb entire economic system. So government have to limit itself. Government do not interfere in the economic activity, because interest rates should be market driven, and the wages means the money which you are going to get in form of remuneration against your work which you are doing in the production activity, that should be decided from the market force rather than by the government. Then obvious question is why you do not want government should fix the remunerations or minimum wages. So they said simple, as we explained this thing, once the production is increased, employment will increase, income, consumption, savings, demand, each and everything is going to increase, right? Every time it is going to increase. Then what will happen at a point of time? At a point of time, see, please listen this discussion very carefully. Whatever the doubt or question you have, I'll take it later. But first of all, just focus on this discussion. Right. So what they said that every time production will increase, it will help to increase the employment. Right. When they said employment, they also explained unemployment. Before moving further, they explained employment and unemployment. So the question is why there is need to explain unemployment. There is a need. Need why? Because they want to say that those people who are looking for any employment opportunity, any, I'm emphasizing this word, they are looking for any employment opportunity but they are not getting that opportunity, only those are unemployed, only those are unemployed. Whereas who are those people who are preparing for the government job exam or the grade B officer exam, and for that particular job, or any person who is looking for any specific employment only, and he is not ready to take any opportunity available in the market for employment, right? They are not looking for any opportunity, they are looking for any specific opportunity only. Those people will be not considered as unemployed, they will be considered as voluntary unemployed. They will be not come under the category of unemployed people, they will come under the category of unemployed people. Voluntary unemployed, we are not concerned or bothered with them, we are only concerned with the employment and those unemployed people who are looking for employment but employment is not available for them, right? So they explained unemployment in this manner, number one. Then they said that every time production is going to increase, we need more people for increasing the production activity, right? So every time employment is going to increase, and then at a point of time, this employment is going to heading towards 100% employment. This employment at a point of time will head towards 100% of employment, right? So once the 100% employment situation be there, then definitely wages. Earlier unemployment employment was 70%, that means 30% was unemployed and they are looking for the job, right? So whatever the wages is going to be offered by the producer, they will easily accept it. But once the economy will head towards 98 or 99% of employment, then definitely wages are going to be increased. Then definitely wages are going to be increased. Why? Because less number of people are seeking employment and you want to increase your production activity, so you must offer more wages, or you can say higher wages. And if you are going to offer higher wages to new people, then definitely you have to increase the wages of existing people. So when economy is going to head towards 100% employment, then cost of production is also going to increase. The cost of production is also going to increase, right? The cost of production will increase, and because the cost of production is going to increase, this time the increase in the price, earlier cost of production was not increasing, so the price was increasing because of rise in demand only. Earlier price was increasing because of rise of demand only, but this time when economy is heading towards 100% employment, then the price will not only increase just because of rise in demand, it is also going to incorporate cost of production. So earlier price was increasing for say with X percent rate or 4 to 6% rate. The price was increasing with 4 to 6%. But once the economy is going to head towards 100% employment, cost of production will increase because people will ask for more wages. In that case, this time price is going to increase around 10 to 12%. And this increase in the price is going to impact people's capacity to consume people's capacity to consume, right? And if people's capacity of consumption is going to decrease because high rise in the price, why price are high this time? Because economy is heading towards 100% employment, and this 100% employment causing rise in the price, not only because of rise of demand but also rise in the cost of production. So these two elements are causing high price rise, and this high price rise is going to decrease in the consumption, right? Now what supplier can do? Supplier have two options. Either he can cut the production, he can cut the production, or he can cut the wages. When there will be high price rise, he have two options: either cut the production or cut the wages, right? But as I told you, they are complaining about this. कि government fix the minimum wages. So anyhow, wages are fixed by the government, so they do not have this option to exercise. They do not have this option to exercise. That is why they have to cut in the production. They have to exercise this option, right? And when you will exercise this option of cutting the production, it is going to create a spiral effect. Means what effect is going to be there? If they are going to cut the production, this decrease in the production, this decrease in the production, supply is going to decrease, right? Production or supply is going to decrease, and this decrease in the production will cause decrease in employment, and this decrease in the employment will further cause decrease in income. If income is going to decrease, then consumption and savings. Consumption and savings both are going to decrease. This will, if consumption is going to decrease, then price is also going to decrease, right? If consumption is going to decrease, then price is also going to decrease. So if price is going to decrease, people can start consuming again. What was happening here? I told you economy was going fine, but once the employment reached to 100%, cost of production increased, and that's why there is an exponential increase in the price, right? And this exponential increase in the price have given two options to the supplier: either cut the wages or cut the production. But he was forced to cut the production because cutting the wages is not being allowed by the government, right? So he cut the wages. Then earlier, each and everything, before this 100% employment like situation, each and everything was increasing. Production was increasing, employment was increasing, income is increasing, consumption, saving, each and everything was increasing. But once the economy reached to the threshold of 100% employment, then problem started. And production, production, employment, income, consumption, savings, and price. Price decreased. Price decreased. So when the price will decrease, demand generally increases. If price will decrease, demand will be increases. But because now less number of people are employed, that is why despite decrease in the demand, despite decrease in the price, consumption will be remain low. Consumption is definitely going to decrease because despite low prices, people are not having employment. Less number of people having the employment. So that is why despite decrease in the price, there will be no increase in the consumption. In fact, consumption will decrease further. And that decrease in the consumption is going to cause decrease in further production or supply. So this chain will start going in the reverse manner. Earlier, it was moving clockwise. Supply is increasing, employment is increasing, income is increasing, consumption is increasing, demand, price, each and everything is increasing. But right now, this entire chain is going to move in the other direction, right? Other direction. So, in economics, we will define deflation in the economy. Deflation in the economy. When we define the deflation in the economy, deflation, if for 2 to 3 quarters, one financial year is divided into 4 quarters. Our financials start from 1st April and end with 31st March. So consecutively 2 to 3 quarters, we are seeing what? There is decrease in the price, production, employment, income, and other things. And this decrease is going for next 2 to 3 quarters. We will call it as deflation. And if this deflationary cycle in the economy is going to continue for 1 or 2 financial year, right? 1 or 2 financial year, we will call it as a recession. We will call it as a recession. And if recession is going to continue for 3 to 4 years, we will call it as a depression. We will call it as a depression. So in economy, if government is going to intervene, if government is going to intervene, that means they are not going to follow this laissez-faire and they are going to intervene, then in this case economy at a point of time may be reached towards 100% employment, but after that it is going to go for deflationary cycle, deflation to recession, and recession to what, depression kind of situation. However, if government is going to restrain itself by interfering in the market, what government was doing, government was interfering in the market. If government is going to refrain itself, if government is going to refrain itself and follow this laissez-faire policy, in that case what will happen? In that case, if you will follow this laissez-faire policy, in this case you are not going to question this community which is producing when they will cut the wages, because now wages are as per market situation. So rather than going for cut in the production, they will go for cut in the wages. And once they will cut the wages, then cost of production will decrease and price is again going to be stable. And if price is again going to be stable, so before economy is going to heading towards recession, from recession to depression, we will apply this laissez-faire and this business cycle will run again. So this supply side economist, they said that at a point of time economy will go for 100% employment, but at a some point of time it is going to be in recession kind of situation, and then laissez-faire policy will be applied and again it will be 100% like employment like situation. So supply side economists, they defined economy in a cycle. They defined economy in a cycle, and this cycle of economy comprises of what? This cycle of economy is comprised of recession and boom. So in this cycle, there will be the recession and boom. Boom is showing 100% employment. Boom is showing 100% employment, whereas recession kind of situation will arrive only when there is a substantial increase in the price. If government will follow the laissez-faire policy, then there will be no issue. Then there will be no issue and economy will go properly. So that is why it is known as what? Laissez-faire, right? And the statement which I mentioned here, supply can create, it is supply which creates demand. This is the famous statement of French economist JB. And he made this statement, it is supply which creates its own demand, and if government want the economic sector, employment, consumption, savings, each and everything can run in the smooth manner, government have to follow the policy of laissez-faire, especially while deciding the wages and interest rates. And because most of the European economies, they followed this model. They followed this model since beginning, and this system works. This system works perfectly whenever economy is heading towards recession. Government rigorously imply this laissez-faire policy, and again boom recession, boom recession, boom recession kind of economic cycle In other words, we will call this as a business cycle that comes, right? This business cycle comes. So this thing was working perfectly, right? So this is why these supply side economists are also known as classical economists. They're also known as classical economists. Why they are classical economists? Because maybe what they explained at that point of time, it is not 100% true even today. But this basic principle, if the production will increase, then employment income is also going to increase. Right? See, today's government always worry about what? GDP figures. Indian government, IMF, World Bank, everywhere is how much production is increasing. Because if production is going to increase, employment, income, consumption, each and everything is going to increase. Government will get more taxation. That taxation is going to be spent for the welfare activity. That is the classical. The term classical is used here because, for example, some classic songs, right, which may be not very popular. Classical economist. Why classical economist? Because the term classical is used in context of what? Even if you'll see some songs, even they are of 10 years back, 20 years back, but still they are soothing our mind, and they are free of generation, means they are not generational songs. It can be loved by any generation, so they are known as a classic, right? Which is means they are going to soothe, they are going to entertain any generation. Similarly, in economics, the principle which was given in 19th century or they are still having some relevance, not complete relevance, but still they are having some relevance even today. So that is why they are known as classical economist, right? So they generally say that no need to focus on money supply, no need to focus on demand side prices. Each and everything will be automatically adjust if you will adjust supply. If you will adjust the supply, fine. But but what happened in 1920s, especially year 1929? The Great Depression. The Great Depression. The Great Depression. And this Great Depression came in which country? The Great Depression came to which country? The Great Depression came to United States. In United States. And since 1920s, since 1920s, US government was in the recession. And once the recession hit the US economy, US government has applied this policy of laissez-faire. But despite this laissez-faire policy, economy was not able to recover, and they are going further in depression. So that depression went for long time. Started in 1922. By 1929, US employment rate went down to 30 to 35%. Right. So US market was full of goods, but people are not employed. Right. And US was facing longest depression in its history. So what we call long, American call it as a great. So for longer duration, we call it as a long, but in America, the people call it as a great. For example, WWE wrestler, the great Khali. The great means not he's a great person, but the great is because he is tall, very tall. So that's why the great Khali. So similarly, what we call is the long depression, Americans called is the Great Depression. So the Great Depression of 1999 has burst this myth of capitalist economy because they implied all laissez-faire policy, but none of the laissez-faire policy had worked, and now people started questioning this philosophy. They said that you have employed each and everything, but nothing is working. Then, then man or the one of the means not one of the greatest, it is undisputed the greatest economist till then date, British economist J.M. Keynes. He came into the picture and he said that this entire this entire philosophy is wrong, and you need not to focus on the supply side, but you have to focus on demand and money in terms of interest rate. Money in terms of interest rate. Remember, he emphasized not on price. He was not very bothered with the price. He emphasized on demand and money in terms of interest rate. And he said that it is completely wrong to believe supply can create its own demand. It is demand of the economy which actually control each and everything. How he explained this thing? First, he explained why, despite applying this laissez-faire policy, why, despite implementing this laissez-faire policy, even from 1920s till then 1929, why economy was not able to recover from recession to boom. Why economy was not able to uplift despite implementing this laissez-faire policy, right? He said that the fundamental mistake, what they are doing is they are considering investment and savings are equal. What classical economists they are doing, they are considering all investment and saving is same. No, investment and saving is not same. If a person who is having 100 rupees of income, he is spending 60 rupees on consumption and 40 rupees he is saving. 40 rupees he is saving. In normal time, maybe he is going to put all of his money in the form of investment. In the form of investment. But when the recession will hit, when the recession will hit, or there will be something unusual in the economy, when there will be something unusual in the economy, he is going to have this money in the form of cash, cash savings, rather than putting that money in the form of investment, rather than putting in the form of investment. Why? Because he know that the economy is in problem. Definitely my investments are not going to give me the good yield, right? So either I have to put that money in the other investments. That's why people will sell their stocks and they will invest in the other stocks. But what will happen if the entire stock market is in stress? Then people will pull up their money. They'll immediately take back their money. And they feel that ki rather than investing for the purpose of making more money, it is better to have that money in the pocket. So at least it is going to be remain 40. Otherwise, there will be the huge risk, and maybe that 40 is going to reduce to what? reduced to 35 or even 32. Classic example. During this pandemic, currency with public, actually increased. It is RBI's report. RBI has given this report. Currency with public means public is holding more cash. Despite of all digital payments, each and everything is there, but people have more cash. Why people have more cash? Because people know that there is a problem outside and we need money. We need money in times of what? There will be any contingency, then the cash is going to work, right? So it is a fundamental mistake these people are doing. What they are always considering savings and investment are equal. Second mistake they are doing, they are thinking if government is going to intervene, right? Government is fixing the interest rate, but what they said that the government is not going to fix the interest rate under the laissez-faire, and more interest rate is going to offer. Even more interest rates are going to be offered. People are not going to put their money in the investment at the time of recession, right? So that is why what happened, even what you did, you have cut the wages. You have cut the wages, but despite cutting the wages, people are putting their money in terms of savings only, and these investments are not getting created for increasing the production activity. And because of all this, you are not able to come out. Second, another thing he said that, and if you will think as a common man, even if you think as a common man, you are also going to do the same mistake what classical economists were doing. Income has two components: consumption and savings. Income has two components: consumption and saving. If income will increase, what will happen? Consumption and savings both will increase. If income will increase, consumption and saving both will increase, right? If income will increase, consumption and saving both will increase. But my question is, which one? Consumption or saving will increase with higher rate in short term. In a short term, if income is increasing, consumption is increasing, definitely both. If income is going to increase, consumption and savings both are going to increase, right? But what do you feel? Is it consumption or saving is going to increase with the faster rate? Answer please. So according to Hustler, if income is going to increase, consumption will increase more. No. In the short term, when income is going to increase, the rate of savings is going to increase with the faster rate in comparison to consumption. Here, the short run means maximum 3 to 4 years. Longer run means up to 10 to 20 to 30 years. So, in the short run, in a business cycle, because we define the business cycle from what? If recession is going to continue for 3 to 4 years, it is defined as what? It is defined as depression. So depression will be in the economy after 3 to 4 years when the deflation was started. deflation was started, and this deflation went to depression in 3 to 4 years. So here short-term run is up to 3 to 4 years. A common person, just consider yourself. You are unemployed right now. You got the job in grade B. You become a grade B officer in the RBI, right? So earlier you was staying in Delhi or somewhere else, and from there you was preparing. So you was living in the rented house, right? And when you become an officer, definitely you are going to either purchase that house, or you are going to stay in better rented house. So in that better rented house, your consumption is going to increase, right? So you started paying higher rent for that better house, 2 BHK or 3 BHK house. Earlier you was living in the room, but right now you are staying in 2 BHK or 3 BHK, right? And you feel that ki earlier I was managing with the fan, but now I have a capacity to purchase an AC. So you have purchased one AC. You have 3 BHK room flat. So you are going to purchase maximum 3 or 4 AC. You are not going to install the AC in your kitchen and your toilet, right? So maximum 2 to 3 AC you are going to purchase. So your demand for these kind of the goods, these kind of the goods, that is consumer durables like AC, fan, television, right, car. So it is going to be saturated after a point of time in the shorter run. Whether it is AC, after purchasing one TV, right, what you can do, you can purchase three TVs. One is for the drawing room, one is for the bedroom, for another room, three TV, three ACs. So all these consumer durables are going to be satisfied in 3 to 4 years. Whereas the consumption, the non-durable goods, right? What we call as the FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods, fast-moving consumer goods. So earlier you thought that ki, okay, because I am getting the limited money before becoming grade B officer, I am getting limited amount of money from my family. So you are eating samosa once in a 3 4 days. Now you are a grade B officer, you are getting your own salary. You can eat samosa on daily basis. How much? Earlier you was eating samosa once in a 3 4 days, one samosa. Now you can eat daily 2 to 3 samosa. But how many? How many samosa you are going to consume? Not more than 3 to 4 on daily basis, right? I'm just exaggerating. Even if I'm exaggerating, you cannot increase your consumption. Earlier you was using only half-liter milk, right? Now you can go for 2 to 3 liters, but not more than 4 to 5 liters, even if you have a proper family. So, in the shorter run, your consumption is going to be saturated. Your consumption is going to saturated, and once the consumption is going to saturated at a particular point, then consumption will be remain there, and the entire money is going in the form of savings, right? So this was the fundamental mistakes was committed by these classical economists. First mistake, they feel that consumption, sorry, investments and savings are equal. That is not equal. And even the worst times will come, people will have more holdings of cash, and we call it as a speculative demand of money. Speculative demand of money. If normal times is there and interest rates is going to increase, so people will feel that ki my 100 rupees in terms of saving and investment is going to be either 104, 105, 110, 112. So they are thinking in this manner. So they are speculating rise in their investments and savings. But similarly, if recession is going to hit, they will also think in the same manner. What if I will invest my 100 rupees in the market? Maybe it is going to decrease to what? 98 or 95. So better to hold this money in the form of cash savings. So savings and investments are not equal thing. Second thing, in the shorter run, the rate of increase of savings is going to be higher than the rate of increase of consumption. But what they are feeling, the rate of consumption will be higher than rate of savings. So these two fundamental mistakes you are making at the time of recession. In 19th century, economy was not having such a big size. But as we have entered in the 20th century, economy has become more global because of availability of what? source of communication, source of transportation. So economy has a bigger size, and in the big size economy, this model of supply side economics is not going to work in the perfect manner as it worked in the 19th century. So these are the fundamental mistakes you are committing. So it is not going to work. You have to make the changes, and this is why you are stuck in the depression, recession and depression like of situation. So if you want to come out of this depression like situation, you definitely choose a different path. So US government said that to Keynes, thank you very much sir, you have explained what the problem we are facing in a very correct manner. You explained, but the bottom line is, tell me how we can come out of this problem. You explained it very well manner ki what disease I'm having and what are the main reasons for having this disease. But now please tell me the cure. Tell me the cure. So Keynes said that ki, I will tell you the cure. I will tell you the cure. But remember, everybody have to die in the future. He said that I will tell you the remedy. But remember, everybody have to die in the future. That means whatever the remedy I am going to give you, whatever the remedy I am going to give you, that going to work. But it doesn't mean that it is going to make you immortal. Means whatever the solution I'm going to provide that can work in the certain circumstances. It is not going to work in every time. And later on, Keynes was proven right. Okay, so Keynes was proven right later on. But what solution Keynes suggested? Right, what solution Keen has suggested, that was very interesting. That was very interesting, and it is also not just related to the money supply. It is not only just related to money supply and interest rate, but it is also related to deficit, or better, budget deficit. You know that before Keynesian theory of money supply and interest, before his theory, generally government's budget was not in deficit. Either it is balanced budget, means all the expenditures are equal to the earnings of the government, or they are in surplus, right? But it was not a deficit budget, means our expenses are high and our income is low, right? But after Keynesian phenomena, governments all over the world started presenting budget deficit. Even you can see the government of India's budget even today also, there is a deficit in the budget deficit, fiscal deficit, right, revenue deficit, lot of deficit talks. You know, before 1930s there was no talk of the deficit, right? So it is going to be a very interesting discussion in the next class when I will explain this deficit phenomena. Because if I will start Keynes right now, it will take another hour. Keynes and then this uh, price and money, right? And to generate further curiosity and interest, just for that, you know him, this name, Dr. Raghuram Govindarajan. Dr. Raghuram Govindarajan. You know him? How many of you know him? He is a former governor of RBI. He is a former chief economic advisor to the government of India. He is a former chief economist of IMF. So these three distinctive posts he holded, right? And he was a person who predicted. He was a person who predicted financial crisis of 2007-8, even before the crisis hit in the US economy. He predicted in his book 2006-7. He predicted this crisis in his book, and I'll tell you the name of book in this book. In this book, the fault line, he given an exact idea कि economy, especially Western economies, are going to hit with this crisis. In this book, the fault line, right? The fault line. So Raghuram Govindarajan and J.M. Keynes, right? Raghuram Govindarajan is known as monetarist. Monetarist. And he do not believe what Keynes suggested. He have his own model, and the entire monetary policy committee in India is a brainchild of this Raghuram Govind Rajan. Maybe other committees have suggested, but it was a brainchild of Dr. Raghuram Govind Rajan, and he do not accept the Keynesian model. Right. So I'll tell you about Keynesian theory. Then I am also going to tell you how Keynesian theory was failed of economic growth and money supply. And then see, in this figure, I told you there is a supply, demand, money, and price. So classical economist, जो classical economist थे, those who are the classical economist, they focus on supply side. Those who are Keynesian, means they believe in the Keynesian theory, they focus on money supply and demand. But economists like Raghuram Govindarajan, they focus on what? Inflation and price rise. And they are known as monetarist. Right. So who is going to be the RBI's governor? Who is going to be the RBI governor? Once you will know his background, you can get an idea what kind of course of action is going to be there in next 2 to 3 years in that country's economy. Why Urjit Patel has resigned abruptly? Why he resigned abruptly? Why Shashikant Das, who is coming from the government, he was assigned as a RBI governor, right? And what will be the policy focus of governor, right? And how monetary policy is going to balance each and everything. So there is a long tussle between government and RBI, and to avoid this tussle, this monetary policy committee came in the picture. So all these discussions are going to be happen in next 2 to 3 class, and it is going to be very interesting if you want to know things in detailed manner. And here I am discussing each and everything in detail. There are some people who may be impatient, right? Who are maybe impatient. So my message for them is, if you are impatient, this subject is not for you. To understand in deep, if you want to become an officer, you have to behave like an officer, right? And whenever you will encounter with any officer kind of person, Just look their personality. They are very calm and cool, and they are more interested to listen carefully what you are saying. Only then they'll analyze, and they'll. So you must have that trait. You must have that trait. To develop that trait, you have to be the patient and gather the knowledge and understanding and generate your view, opinion, and wisdom. Right? So, all of you, my dear, my humble request is कि the patience you are showing till then this lectures, please just continue for 3 4 more lectures. Then entire economy will be very clear in your mind. Means all the basic things will be clear in your mind. Then after 3 4 lectures, things are going to be like uh, cakewalk for you for the rest of the thing. But you have to be remain patient for another 3 to 4 lectures when you will understand. I told you about the business cycle, right? So similarly, I am going to explain most of the fundamental things. But to explain these fundamental things in detail, they need some time. So I am taking time, and I hope you are taking this thing very positively, right? So in the next lecture, I will first explain the Keynesian theory, right? And then I will explain the monetarist model and why Raghuram Govindarajan is monetarist, why he emphasized government of India to focus more on inflation rather than economic growth. And because of that kind of the influence, monetary policy committee came into the picture, right? So all these things I am going to take in the next lecture. But before winding it up, okay, Shikhar Suman, Raghuram Rajan sir, Acha, 44th governor of RBI, sir, governor. Not personally, sir. Okay, he informed about 2006 recession. Good, because government want the reserve fund of RBI. No, not government want the reserve funds of RBI. There is a clash of what? There is a clash of uh, stance, stance of governor in the monetary policy. Government wants something else, and Urjit Patel don't want something. Don't agree with that thing. So that was a pressure. Means there are some people. There are some people who work on their own terms and conditions. They work on their own terms and conditions, and they feel that it is better to quit rather than being involved in the kind of tussle, right? So he's a kind of person. He's a kind of person. And uh, when Raghuram Govindarajan was governor, he was a deputy governor, and he was in charge of monetary policy. And it was Urjit Patel Committee and Financial Sector Legislative Reform Commission who has given the fundamental structure of MPC. So MPC, Monetary Policy Committee, is a brainchild of what? Raghuram Govindarajan. But what should be the structure of Monetary Policy Committee, and how it is going to work, in what way the decision making is going to be there, all these things are being influenced by Urjit Patel also, right? But he is a kind of person who generally do not uh, go for conferences like Raghuram Govindarajan usually do, right? He was outspoken, whereas Urjit Patel was more and more introvert in the nature. So he don't want to tussle with the government on various front, right? So that's why he resigned. Whereas Sashikant Das, he has a long experience to work with the government, right? He's a very smart bureaucrat, right? So he know that he how to satisfy the demands of the political elites and to work with the peace of mind. So he is more capable as a bureaucrat, or you can say that as a manager or head of the organization. Whereas Urjit Patel is kind of what? He is a kind of economist who more believe in to work with the freedom rather than under the pressure, right? Chetan, if you will go by this, the view of capitalist, sorry, this supply side economists, yes, then you can say that certain, some sort, means 100% employment is a hypothetical situation. First of all, it is not going to be happen, but yes, to certain extent, it is going to be good for the economy. Seeker, sure, if the trend of placing any IS in the place of RB head goes on them, the whole system it will be servant of. No, 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 Sekhar. Once you will become the RBI governor, right? So see, there are even many instances, even in the politics also, the person was not known, but once he become the CM, once he become the CM, he was very known person. He become very powerful person, right? So it's a RBI governor, right? It's a RBI governor. So if the Shashikant Das is going to what? If he's going to outspoken, if he become a little bit radical and he's not going to accept government things, government is not going to remove him. Government is not going to remove him because government know that if they are going to remove you, right? If they are going to remove you, it is going to backfire, right? So it's not like that. RBI has sufficient autonomy. It is just key you understand. You are more sympathetic. You can say that you are more sympathetic towards the government's requests, right? Rather than what being what Raghuram Govindrajan and Urjit Patel kind of people, they feel that ki no, it is good for the longer term for the economy to make a balance between growth and inflation. And it is very important to focus on inflation rather than growth. And they are also very right. Right, they are also very right because they feel that ki if inflation is going to be there, even with the high growth, economy is having the high growth, but there is a high inflation. So Ambani is not going to be impacted. But the common people or the people who are working on the very fixed wages, they are getting kind of what we say in Hindi, dihadi. Right. For them, it is going to be very difficult if the inflation is going to be high. Ambani is not going to be impacted by the inflation. So these people think in this manner. Urjit Patel and Raghuram Govindrajan kind of the people. Whereas Shashikant Das feel that okay, high inflation will be there, but at the same time, government, if it is going to have a revenue, then government is also distributing the food grains. So government is supporting them. And in order to support government's expenditure, like distributing of food grains and other supportive scheme, it is required to adhere the government's request, right? So it is fundamental different of ideology of thinking, right? So this is the ideological things. They feel in different ideology, they feel in different ideology. Fine. So this is the kind of debate. It is endless debate, right? It's people's perception, their philosophical orientation, their ideological orientation to think about what is right and what is wrong, right? That's it. Nothing else. Jitendra Kumar, where to focus to crack exam SEBI grade A? Where to focus? Focus on the lectures. And even for SEBI, I'm conducting this entire SEBI special syllabus in the YouTube series, free of means free for everyone on YouTube channel. Yes, Shekhar, tell me, what is your request? Apart from Shekhar, anybody else who have any kind of request or demand? The day you took classes on YouTube too, then the lecture goes very smooth on the app. Okay. Thank you, Anjali. But remain days the video stuck after every 3 4 minutes. Okay, Shikhar, I will discuss with the technical team on this issue and we will test it on this platform. I'll surely discuss with this thing. Okay. Okay, then, time to wind up today's session. We will continue with Keynes and Raghuram Govindrajan. I hope these Keynes, Raghuram Govindrajan, Urjit Patel will come to your dream tonight, right? And okay, now wind up this session. A very good night to all of you and study hard. We will meet tomorrow. First in the service session at 7:30, then at 9 in this session. Okay? Thank you.